everyone, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Natasha Martinez, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining me today is Dennis Zen.
Welcome back, everyone, to another brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk. Your eyes do not deceive you. It is Thursday, not Friday, and I'm here hosting.
And we got Mr. Jon Schnepp.
Yeah, what happened? Where's Campea? Did he quit again? No, what? Oh, relax. He's in Canada. He's taking a trip. Everybody freaking out online. Where's Campea? He's taking a trip. He's human. He has to visit his family once in a while. Why don't y'all relax? What's up?
Relax. All right, we got Kristian Harloff.
I love when you know that by saying relax, the comments are flying. Where's Campea? Where is it? Conspiracy! I smell it! I smell it!
All right, guys. So before we get into our regularly scheduled program, which is have all our topics here on the side, we actually had a trailer drop before. We actually weren't expecting. It's actually a movie I'm really looking forward to. Is Keanu, the new movie, the new comedy by Key and Peele, the guys that we know from Key and Peele. What did you think about it, Kristian?
I loved it. And look, I've never really seen a lot of the skits or episodes of Key and Peele. A lot of people love it, swear by it. The stuff that I have seen online, I thought was great. I think both those guys are really great. I knew nothing about this movie. I had no idea. When you said the Keanu trailer is coming, I literally thought it was some kind of mock movie with Keanu Reeves. I had no idea. And then it starts. I'm like, okay, this is their first movie. And man, does it look funny. The rhythm of it, there hasn't been a really great comedy in a while. And I don't necessarily know if this is going to be the great comedy, but it certainly has the makings of it. And it didn't seem like it gave away all the jokes. It seemed like there's a lot more that could happen. I love the bizarreness of the fact that it's almost like a play off of John Wick. Yeah. Maybe hence why they have the Keanu name as well too. But just that that these guys work. They have a good dynamic. So this is just from that trailer has become like my most anticipated comedy, I think, right now.
Yeah, I love Key and Peele. Seen almost all of the episodes. I think I knew about this coming. I knew they were working on it, and I just heard about the premise of it. Like I guess 2 weeks ago, where it was like they're like everybody loves YouTube cat videos. So that was kind of the beginning of the idea of making something about with a small cute cat as the central character. And then this trailer is unbelievably funny. I own 2 cats, and so I instantly when you see a cat in peril, you're like no, but it's like they're pulling on all the heartstrings of like you seeing a cat running with bullets flying. I swear to God, I think that mansion at the end is the one from Beverly Hills Cop.
It looked like it.
It looked exactly. So I think if they did that, that's even more awesome. They were like, we're paying homage. All the sequences where they're like, look, you're at a bar, you got to learn how to talk, and it's like there's so much humor in this. I cannot wait to see this movie. It's like it just went up to my biggest anticipated comedy of the year.
Would you ever come into the studio? Would your cats ever sit on your shoulders? I would pay money to watch that.
One of my cats would. The other one is a scaredy cat. Like it freaks out and runs, like rustling and stuff, like freaks it out. So it's like,
amazing. It'd be like a Bond villain.
Yeah, the other cat tagger is like super chill. You can put him down, so
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Key and Peele, and I love this trailer. I also love cats as well, so you mix those together, and it looks funny. It's coming out on April 29th, so they really haven't put. This is, I think, their first trailer, and it's a red band one. It's only coming out. I think that's actually a wise move for a movie like this. This isn't Star Wars, some big franchise where you need to kind of tease it a year in advance. Like I think leading up to this, I hope that a lot of the humor plays out. I hope they have a lot more jokes in it that we haven't seen yet. And I think if this movie is at least a decent hit, you're going to see cat and kitten adoptions go through the roof.
God,
People the cat is so cute. Natasha, you saw the trailer with us. What did you think?
I love Key and Peele. I've seen not all of the episodes, but I'm a huge fan of all of their stuff on YouTube. So it's pretty cool to see how that has transitioned to now a movie. I mean, you can't go wrong with cute cats. Like I'm definitely one of the ones that are scrolling on Facebook looking at cute cat videos all day. But what also I thought was cool was that Keegan in one of my favorite episodes is that I said bitch.
Yeah.
So his wife from that episode or scene or whatever is actually in the movie too. So I hope that we see a couple more crossovers from their YouTube videos to now this movie.
Yeah, definitely. That joke about them talking different is from a sketch they already had. I do hope they have some new humor and new jokes in this movie, and it's not just all recycled stuff.
Sorry, I was going to say I think it's probably a combination of two because like look at you guys who are very familiar with their stuff and me who's not. I like those jokes were new to me, so maybe they're going to introduce some of those jokes to the people they don't think have seen their show, plus come up with a bunch of new material for you guys as well. So I mean I'm super excited.
I think it'll be a synthesis because definitely one of my favorite sketches is the misunderstanding on the cell phone, like texting and like what? No, you did not say. And I just experienced that, so I like totally like the way that they relate like common things that happen in our normal lives and just like magnify them. That's exactly what this film feels like, and thank God it's coming out this April. If it was like coming 2020, I'd kill myself.
Yeah,
like all these waiting 4 years, 5 years for movies. It's great that it's a few months away.
What a great date that is for them. And April 29th, it also shows confidence in the film as well too, because that's right before the summer movie season really kicks off. And I mean, I think like Fast and Furious opened in April last year, or maybe
around that time.
But the fact that it's coming out in April, I think, should really speak volumes that they have some confidence in this one.
Great trailer.
And then George Michael song.
Yeah.
So fun. Yeah.
Freedom. Tell me what to do.
All right, what's the first topic?
Okay. It was announced yesterday that the official release date for Star Wars Episode 8 has been pushed back from its original date of May 26, 2017 to almost 7 months later on December 15th, 2017. The official press release from Disney included these statements. Star Wars Episode 8, originally scheduled for release on May 26, 2017, will now debut on December 15th, 2017. The move follows the extraordinary success of Star Wars The Force Awakens, which was the first Star Wars movie to premiere in December. In the popular holiday movie-going corridor, it smashed numerous records, including biggest domestic and global debuts of all time, as well as the biggest domestic second and third weekends, en route to becoming the highest-grossing domestic release of all time with over $861 million, and the third biggest global release ever with $1.887 billion. With Star Wars Episode 8 jumping to December, Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales will set sail on May 26, 2017 from its previously scheduled July 7th release. Dennis, what do you make of this delay for the release of Star Wars Episode 8?
Well, you guys talked about it on the show yesterday because it kind of dropped during our live Twitter section. But for me personally, I'm surprisingly okay with this. When they said that May date before for Episode 8, I actually never really believed it. I was like, that's really soon. They haven't started shooting yet. I knew all the press and all the stuff that was happening with the release of Episode 7 was going to, keep them occupied. And so I think this delay is going to give them, a lot more time to work on it. I know that, I guess the rumors are that they're going to change the script a little bit and focus more on the three characters, Rey, Finn, and Poe, that they didn't expect to be so popular from Episode 7, and they're reworking that. I think it just gives Rian Johnson some more time, so I'm fine with it. Christian?
I love it. I love it. And that's the thing, because for exactly what you just said, if those rumors are true, that what they found at Lucasfilm was that how much they want to focus a little bit more, whether it be on Rey, Poe, and Finn, and it's Rian Johnson. Again, I have confidence in Rian Johnson. I have, and remember that when JJ originally was going to do Episode 7, it was supposed to come out in May. Pushed it back because they wanted to get it right. And it probably also, they probably said to themselves, okay, look, we know that we did pretty good in December this year. Is it going to hurt us to push back 7 months? Nah, it'll probably help, and it is going to help. Look, they've got to go against Avatar now. They've got to go. I think there's another movie as well. Oh, I think isn't Ready Player One supposed to come out around the same time? Maybe, but this is fine. This is fine. I think that it really works into what they're going to do. And I've heard a couple different things. One thing I've heard, I mean, even JJ had said about Rian Johnson's script that he loved it. There was, I guess, Greg Gunberg had opened his mouth and like he normally does, which I love. But he loved it. And then I heard from someone else, more of an inside source, that this script, they couldn't believe how great it was, and that the fact that Disney is going to allow Rian Johnson to do what he wants to do. That's exciting. So I think the push is great. I'm fine.
I hope they're still allowing Rian Johnson to do what he's going to do, and just like adding a few more scenes with Rey. But yeah, I don't have any problems with it. I think it's a smart move, and I think it's all because of the smash hit that Star Wars was during December. Remember, like months before Star Wars came out, everyone at this table was like, hey, it's not gonna, it's Christmas, it's gonna be hard to break the the curse of the $90 million weekend, and it blew the lid off that. And it's like I think everyone at Disney was like, I think we've got our place where we need to release Star Wars from now on. It's not a May release like it used to be in the 70s, whereas, and all the way up through the prequels. Yeah. Now we've got our Christmas release, and we're going to hold on to that because now it's like once a year you're going to get a Star Wars present under your tree, and it's called Star Wars. It's like, I think that's like the best present of the year. I think, the summer's already packed with all these blockbusters. I love the idea of like every year you're going to get a Star Wars movie. I think it's great.
Well, you don't cannibalize like you were saying, like by getting it away. I think that Pirates actually benefits by putting it in to that summer season there. It's meant to be a summer movie. It really is. Like I think it's going to be harder for certain movies that aren't Star Wars, and there's other movies that could probably do it in December. I think you're going to start seeing more movies move into that December slot. It just depends on what it is. Not all movies can have big openings in December. Just not going to.
Yeah, not every franchise is Star Wars.
Right. Well, exactly what you said is like. And it's also Disney. Remember, Disney also is Marvel. So Marvel owns May.
Yep.
So they're going to be releasing Marvel movies every May. They don't want to have another blockbuster fighting their own money.
Guardian's supposed to come out right the week before.
That's
so
what
now
I'm saying. So it's
away,
like Marvel's got May, and they also have November, and they're going to and then probably like late July, early August. They're going to be releasing 3 movies every year. Yeah. So now Star Wars is going to be every December. That makes perfect sense.
And then with Avatar, though, I do think that is a little bit of a concern because this time Star Wars didn't go up against much. Avatar 2 is a different story. I know people were thinking, oh, well, Avatar, whatever. I enjoyed Avatar. But remember, domestically, I think Star Wars Episode 8 will kill Avatar. But you have to think worldwide, Avatar was very well received, and we don't know how much people in other countries are looking forward to it. They may be like, maybe they're looking more forward to Avatar than Star Wars. We don't know.
I think it's that battle between Avatar and Star Wars that's going to start December becoming a new stomping ground for the blockbusters. That's the one that's going to do it because they're both going to do really well. Yeah. They're both going to do really well. Star Wars, the thing that Star Wars has going for it now too, obviously because Episode 7 was a big success, but 8 now, and now that they know it's going to have a darker tone, and the fact that we have to wait a little longer now, it probably helps the box office a little bit more, and because it's not cannibalizing. But then you have an Avatar, I think you're going to start seeing more of the blockbusters start to pop in, because it used to be just like Tarantino movies and other type of like the family comedies and stuff but it's going to start getting blockbuster time.
Chipmunks.
It's true.
But like, look at all that spillover.
Shit rats.
The sisters and chipmunks, they got like a lot of extra flavor, like just dripping off of Star Wars. Because, if I was opening a movie, I was like, I'm going to open it against Star Wars. Maybe I'll get the reverse engineering, like extra money.
Well, if you do counter-programming.
Counter-programming.
You don't want to do like, I'm going to make a space fantasy. I'm going to put up against Star Wars.
Hell no.
And that's why that's probably another reason why, because the same company said, maybe, this is not a bad idea. Guardians comes out the week before. We're going to cannibalize off of Guardians here with Star Wars. Let's get it out of there. Yeah. It makes sense.
Any chance that Avatar 2 moves from December?
Big chance.
Because that date isn't like super. They haven't like advertised the Avatar 2. So do you think like maybe Fox is like, hey, maybe we should move it further or up?
I say absolutely not. I say head to head. Maybe not they're not going to open the same weekend.
No.
But I think that James Cameron's Avatar is a giant film. It's the number 1 box office film of all time. He's releasing 3 movies back, like one after the other. It's going to be a massive, giant hit, and perfectly, I'm honest about it. I don't care what the box office is of either of them. I feel like I win. I get both movies in Christmas, so that's cool for me.
I think there's a chance that they move it. I don't think they will, but there's certainly a chance that it'll be brought up. But I think it's going to be James Cameron going, nope, we're not moving. I think James Cameron's going, no, we're set, we're staying, we're sticking our ground. But I think that it's certainly a chance that they bring it up and say, should we get the hell out of there?
Yeah, but where would they move?
It's a great question. I mean, whether or not it can't be summer, it can't be. I mean, does November become a new thing?
Here's the thing: like people go see Star Wars, or they go see Avatar, and then they'll go see the other one. That's what I mean. I say it's a win-win situation. There's not like the summer is like that confusing, like what, like this, and then every 2 weeks there's like another giant creature trying to take your place. So it's like that's not going to be happening.
Yeah, but the only thing that I think that you get nervous is one of the main reasons that Star Wars was able to become the number 3 movie of all time was the amount of repeat viewings. Dennis and I were having a conversation yesterday about he's seen it 5 times. I've seen it 4 times. So many people have seen it out so many different times. If that goes away a little bit, your number drops a little bit from the 5 to maybe the 3 because you wanted to see Avatar again, or maybe you wanted to see Avatar for the first time. Those numbers drop a little bit, and that takes a little bit out.
But in Schnepp, are you okay with them rewriting the script and focusing more on the 3 big characters from Episode 7?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, with them saying rewriting the script, I think it's like minor touch-ups or add like slight subtle additions. I don't think they're gonna tear Act 1 away and make it. I think it's gonna just be like modifying the script, especially because of the way everyone's been talking about the script that Rian Johnson had pulled in. They've already done all the set designs. They're already getting ready to shoot. The cast is already going there right now to get ready to be there for 6 months. So it's not like they'd be like, we're tearing everything apart. They're just gonna move along and like rewrite a few scenes and massage stuff is my guess. So.
Okay. All right, on to the next subject.
Okay, many new details from the upcoming X-Men Apocalypse have been released. Last year, our very own Adam Chitwood from Collider.com visited the set of the film and talked with director Bryan Singer and writer-producer Simon Kinberg. Among various new details, Singer and Kinberg talked passionately about the new timeline that was created in X-Men Days of Future Past and where the timeline may or may not go in relation to previous X-Men films. Singer said the following: "It's not leading necessarily towards exactly where we found Patrick Stewart and the X-Men at the beginning of X-Men 1. There are some things that lead in that general direction. Part of the philosophy we had at the end of Days of Future Past is that you can't fully change the course or current of the river, but you can just divert it a little bit. And we diverted it a little bit. So some things will be surprises. People could die that were alive in X-Men 1, 2, and 3, or people could survive that died during 1, 2, and 3. Singer also added, "I'll kill any one of those characters any day I want. They're all fair game. Anything can happen. When two things are happening simultaneously in quantum physics, that's what's called the superposition. When the observer finally observes the outcome, that's what's called the collapsing of superposition, which is what happened when Wolverine woke up and saw all the happiness. So yes, that is the outcome we hope for, that is the outcome we aspire to, and that's the outcome we are moving towards. But we saw in Days of Future Past another dark world. What says that can't happen again? What says the awakening of being that is such power and can acquire the power to destabilize that? So anything is possible. That's what we'd like to think happens. That's what Simon would like to think is a good outcome. But to me, it's fair game." Schnepp, what do you think of director Bryan Singer's comments on the X-Men timeline and X-Men Apocalypse?
I wish Bryan Singer would use his quantum physics superposition to fix Superman Returns. I could wake up and like that movie. But while he's retrofitting the X-Men, I'm in full approval. I mean, I like his weird, like, I'll kill anyone I want. I wish he was like thugged out and they filmed him and he was all dressed like a thug. Like,
pauses the thug life.
Yeah, like, I'll kill anyone I want. It's fair game, son. Like, he flips the mic, starts pushing the camera out of it. I think everything he said, I'm 100% into. I cannot wait to see X-Men Apocalypse. The set visit was great. All those 75 different points, I was skimming through those. I love that they're finally addressing Scott and Havoc as brothers and how that works together. I think them kind of watching, I know they don't read comics, so they were watching the animated cartoons, like again and again. And like, that's what kind of is, they grew up watching the animated X-Men. So that's what their Apocalypse is. And that's what their X-Men is. So by watching that and so trying to stay true to at least the cartoon, and of course the cartoon is based on the comics. So it's okay with me that they're just watching the cartoon and using that as a basis. So everything they've said so far makes me feel like, man, the X-Men is in really good hands with Bryan Singer. I loved X-Men Days of Future Past. I love the first two X-Men's that he did. So seeing X-Men Apocalypse in his hands again with Simon Kinberg, I think it's going to be a really good film. It's good for the X-Men. I think it's also good for all the possible spin-offs because they're really thinking about that. They're resetting the world from some of the screw-ups like Wolverine Origins, which is horrible, Last Stand, let's not talk about it. So there was a lot of bad decision-making in the X-Men world, so it's good to get someone back who's like actually had a good handle on it and kind of re-shepherd and remold this movie as well as the following one. So I think it's great, all this news.
What I love about these comments is that here we have a prequel that we don't know what's going to happen because we've seen The Hobbit, right? We know Bilbo doesn't die because we've seen Lord of the Rings. We've seen the Star Wars prequels. We know what happens with Anakin's character and he turns to the dark side. This is a prequel that we don't know what's going to happen because it's not set in stone. And so any of the characters could die. He even mentions that the Dark Phoenix saga is they could do that again.
Yes,
do
it right.
Yeah, and we could see certain characters live or die that we thought, oh, maybe at this point they're dead, or so. That's what I like the most about this, Kristian.
It's a phenomenal point. It's doing what Terminator failed to do, and that happened in the last one because it took away, even though it took away a lot of great things from the first two movies, it annihilated, like you said, the third movie and the timeline with Brett Ratner and all that stuff, and it's all gone. So I loved the comments. I loved it because it does set up. I totally what you said in regards to, what Kinberg and Bryan Singer, they know this franchise. They love this franchise. They want to continue on this timeline, and we're going to see brand new things. And I love where it's going.
Yeah, so if you guys want to check out more, go to Collider.com, check out Adam Chitwood's article. He did like 2 or 3 articles. Yeah. One is about what we were talking about, the timelines, and then another one is like 75 highlights. And it's just all they're minor spoilers. They're not anything about who's going to die in it, but they are minor spoilers about what characters may be featured more and who's going to do this or that. So if you want to check that out, go to Collider.com. Yeah. All right, so we're on to buy or sell. Natasha, what do we got?
In other movie release date news, Sony has changed the dates for 2 of their biggest titles. The new Spider-Man movie, which is being co-produced by Marvel Studios, will now move up a couple weeks from July 28th, 2017 to July 7th. Sony is also shifting the Jumanji remake's release date from Christmas 2016 to the July 28th, 2017 spot that Spider-Man originally occupied. Kristian, buy or sell these release date moves by Sony?
I buy them, and I'll tell you what I buy. I buy Jumanji not being cocky, because what we were just talking about before with movies that are trying to move it into that December, there has to be the right movie to do it. Now, even though it's a remake of a popular movie, would have done okay. I think it benefits the movie to take a little bit more time and putting it in summertime. I think that's where you'll see some more money in for that particular movie. And if it turns out well, then as far as Spider-Man though, moving, what's like a week,
2 weeks,
2 weeks. I think it's probably just trying to capitalize. I think they probably moved out of the way. They're moving out of the way of Star Wars a little bit now, but now that they're not as intimidated by pirates, so they push it up just a little bit more. And this is also, you have Marvel's influence here as well. So they're probably like, okay, Marvel's probably saying Disney's moving out Star Wars. Come on in, move it a little bit more, and capitalize on the beginning of the summer. I think it's a smart move.
I buy that Spider-Man's moving. I feel like that shows like they're confident that they're going to get this movie done on time. There aren't going to be any delays, and they know what they're doing. I'm going to sell Jumanji moving because I feel like that's just more. I feel like it would be suited for a Christmas release, a family movie. Kind of like, I never watched these movies, but The Night at the Museum, those did very well during that Christmas time. So I feel like a Jumanji remake moving to the summer maybe. There's too much competition. It might be like looked over. What do you think, Schnepp?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I sell the Jumanji move, and what an outrage! Moving Spider-Man 2 weeks. How dare you? Just kidding. It's like, I don't care. It's like they moved it 2 weeks. It's like I don't even know why they announce these things. Well, we've moved it up 2 weeks. Good, great, good for you. It's 2 weeks early. The Jumanji thing's a big move. That's going from like Christmas. That's like a Star Wars type move. It's like 7 months. Mm-hmm. So that to me is like weird. I don't see why they would do that. To me, maybe it's like, oh, we're reshooting stuff. That's how it feels to me.
I think that they want more time with it.
Yeah, they want more time. They got to figure stuff out.
I think it's both. Yeah. But I think that what you got, as far as Night at the Museum goes, if they could have found time for Night at the Museum to make it into a summer, the second one, right? From what because we were just talking about before, the biggest opening was like 86 million of all time before Star Wars came around. I'm curious what Night at the Museum did on the last one, what it did opening weekend. If you can probably double that in the summer, if you can find a date that moves, and Jumanji, because it is a name, and you can make, and I'm curious what how Goosebumps did as well too. But if you put in Jumanji with I forget who's even starring in the movie. Do you remember who's starring in it?
I don't think so. I don't remember. I think there's a lot. They haven't even. They're just talking about that one guy possibly directing, but I don't think anything.
We don't have anything. So maybe they have somebody locked who's a big star. Maybe the way that they're designing it now, that it's not designed as just a holiday movie. It's going to be designed more as a big budget kind of remake and retelling, that it does fill that summer, because there's a void to fill as far as family movies go in the summer.
Okay. All right, what's next?
Last summer, Terminator Genesis, the 5th installment in the Terminator franchise, was released with negative to mixed reviews and an underwhelming domestic box office reception. According to Exhibitor Relations, Paramount has dropped the next Terminator sequel from its release schedule. No word yet on whether the film has been canceled or delayed. Dennis, buy or sell if we'll see another Terminator sequel?
I actually buy that we eventually will see another Terminator movie. That doesn't mean it'll be a sequel, but maybe they plan on rebooting it further down the line. I mean, it did not make a lot of money domestically. I think it made like $89 million, which is way underperforming what they expected. I think the production budget was $155 million, but worldwide, surprisingly, it made over $400 million. So if you take that into account, they actually probably made a little bit of money out of this. And when you make money, they want to make more of them. I think they just want to take the time to actually work on it because they know the negative reaction to this movie, and they figure, all right, we need to figure stuff out for this. I actually didn't hate the movie, but I also didn't love it either. Kristian?
I sell that Paramount will do one again. Okay. I don't think I think I buy as far as another Terminator movie ever being made. Yeah, because I don't know when, but the rights are going to go back to Cameron pretty soon. And because I remember that the report
2 years.
Is it in 2 years?
2 years.
So I think the report was the fact that they were just going to churn them out because they were going to lose the rights regardless. It's not like a Spider-Man deal. It's like you make enough money and we get to keep it. That's not the case. It's a matter of it's going back to Cameron. So Cameron's like, yeah, it was great. Whatever, bring it back. That's what's going to happen. So I think it'll eventually now. When we get that movie, I don't know, because we're just talking about Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15. And no, I don't know how to count. So we are going to see a lot of stuff happen before we get a Terminator, but I'd like to see how great would it be in like 10 years from now. Cameron brings back the franchise. That's all I want to see.
It's never going to happen with Cameron. Why? He's going to be 75, 80 years old.
George Miller.
Yeah, George Miller.
Look, I'm not saying, all right, I'll take back never say never. Just you jacked me with the George Miller thing. But I think, I'll be back not this time. It's done with Arnold. They're done. You got 2 years. I think a smart move, like with Skydance, I can't remember which company owns it. They're like, pull the sequel, do another reboot because it's like, I don't want to see another, like, I don't want to see a sequel to Salvation. I don't want to see a sequel to Genesis. You know what? Just go down grim and like get dirty with it. Give somebody $5 million. Make a really like tense. Like go back to what Cameron had when he made that 1984 The Terminator. It's
horror
like
film.
Reese. Yeah, it's a horror film. There's a robot chasing you. I think that kind of like make it like real gritty. Use technology now. You don't have to show all Skynet like in the future with a weird like Doctor Who. All that stuff with them walking and talking about the explosion that's gonna happen. Sorry, man. Genesis was a really bad film.
Yeah.
I hated it.
It was not fantastic.
It was not. Do the Arnold scream.
That's
how I felt watching the film.
I have to tell you that when I'm the only one who's actually giving the performance, then
That's right. There's
come
a
on.
problem when the robot's the greatest part of the movie. So I seriously hope like they got 2 years left. The time's clicking. Once it goes back to Cameron, maybe he'll give it to someone else. Maybe Cameron will do that. He's like, look, I'm doing these Avatar movies. I'm out in the jungle of another planet. Here, you do Skynet, and he can oversee it, make it cool, put his touch on it, produce it. But I'd love to see them just go back to basics. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So now on to our segment of opening this week, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. We got 2 movies opening this week, The Boy and Dirty Grandpa. Natasha, tell us about these movies.
Well, first up, we have The Boy. A young American named Greta, played by Lauren Cohan, takes a job as a nanny for an 8-year-old boy in a remote English village. To her surprise, Greta learns that the child of her new employers is a life-size doll. They care for the doll as if it was human, which helps the couple to cope with the death of their own son 20 years earlier. When Greta violates a list of strict rules, a series of disturbing and inexplicable events bring her worst fears to life, leading her to believe that the doll is alive. Next up, we have Dirty Grandpa. Uptight lawyer Jason Kelly, played by Zac Efron, is 1 week away from marrying his boss's controlling daughter, putting him on the fast track for a partnership at his firm. Tricked by his grandfather Dick, played by Robert De Niro, Jason finds himself driving the foul-mouthed old man to Daytona Beach, Florida for a wild spring break that includes frat parties, bar fights, and an epic night of karaoke. While Jason worries about the upcoming wedding, Dick tries to show his grandson how to live life to the fullest.
Kristian, are you looking forward to either one of these movies?
I don't like that doll. I don't know. Look, I was looking forward to Dirty Grandpa, but they didn't screen it for critics.
That's not a good sign.
Not a good sign. Ellis and I were talking about yesterday. He liked the first half of the trailer, hated the second half. I loved the first trailer. The Red Band trailer. I got a kick out of it. But everything I'm hearing is that it is garbage. I hope that it's not the case. I hope that I go and I see it and I go, what are they talking about? This movie's great. But I don't have the greatest hopes. And then The Boy, sorry, it's a January horror movie. The history speaks for itself. Again, hope I'm wrong, and I hope that people come back, and I hope you guys are commenting. They go, The Boy is incredible. This is like the next Babadook. This is amazing. Don't think it's going to happen, but stay home.
For me, Dirty Grandpa, I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach. Yeah, the trailers had some funny moments in it. It's just you couldn't tell which way it was going to go. It's going to go super gross-out humor and kind of turn people off, or were there actually funny things in it? So I'm going to wait and hear from other people. The Boy, I'm actually kind of interested in. You know, you and me don't like horror movies,
No,
right?
I can't believe it.
But this one kind of intrigued me. It has more of a creepy vibe to it. It looks, it's weird. It's silly.
You're glutton for punishment.
It's silly. But at the same time, creepy. I kind of got the same vibe when I saw the trailers for The Gift, what was it, a Joel Edgerton movie?
Right.
So I don't know, and I want to see what Lauren Cohen does. She's great in The Walking Dead. I want to see how she does with a lead in a movie.
Well, she was, but Edgerton, The Gift, and then even if you look at The Conjuring, Conjuring was a summer movie, and The Gift was like September. January. I'm telling you, man. There's just the horror dumping ground is in January. The bad news.
I need to know what happens with this boy Brahms. I need to know.
I'll tell you, like, creepy to me is goofy. The boy looks goofy. It's like they didn't feed this doll, so it's beyond
But he
stupid.
used to be a boy.
I don't care.
That murdered another kid.
It should have been kindling.
Reverse Pinocchio.
The minute that food disappears, kindling. That's in the.
Yeah.
It's in the fireplace. I just watched that doll burn.
Turn him in the
I
fire.
think the boy looks stupid. I wish they would have just called it Boy, and then it would at least remind me of the Tall Man. Boy. So I'd have some kind of phantasm callback, like trigger my nostalgia thing. I'll go see a Boy movie, or it would sound like U2's Boy. So then maybe I'd. Anyway,
It's a sequel to The Boy Next Door.
yeah. Well, that would be better. So.
Turn him into firewood.
Forget about The Boy and Uncle Grandpa. What is it called? Dirty Grandpa? Yeah, forget it. I mean, I saw the trailer. I'd say I don't need to see Robert De Niro have sex with a bunch of young women. I saw it in the trailer. I'd like just see him like Zac Efron. Yeah, he's a stiff, weird dude who's gonna make the wrong decision and marry some woman who's controlling, and De Niro's gonna show him how to be a real man. And look, come on. Seriously?
I hate that you're right, but you're probably right.
Natasha, are you looking forward to any of these two movies?
I just saw the trailer for Dirty Grandpa yesterday. And I mean, I gotta say, I'm not really that excited for it because it's not really like my type of movie. I do love Robert De Niro, and I love his last movie. Was it The Intern that he did?
Yeah, I like The Intern.
That character was so endearing, and so to go from that to now Dirty Grandpa, like that'll be interesting to see. The Boy, I think it sounds creepy in a good way. I don't know. Dolls like really freak me out, so I'll probably go see it if I'm in the mood to watch it.
Natasha, kindling is all I could say. Put it in a fireplace.
How
Burn it.
amazing, talking about how that was a sequel to The Boy Next Door, how amazing would Dirty Grandpa be if it was a sequel to The Intern? Like, he just got so fed up working at the company.
Like,
he just went bananas.
Yeah, all the
Done
good
being the
things
nice
about
guy.
him, he decided to just dump out
Or
there.
the
that's
guys
it.
from Jackass just show up and you're like, what? It's all, it's like,
it, yeah.
turn it on its head.
Shared universe. That's right.
All right, guys, we're going on to Mailbag, but before that, a reminder that we're going to take live Twitter questions at the end of the show. You can tweet us at Collider Video, and Natasha will pick some questions out, but first, let's go on to Mailbag.
Oliver Emery Cook writes, "Hey guys, writing from the UK. I know that Tom Cruise or George Miller could be great on their own, but I was wondering what your opinion would be on Tom Cruise being in a George Miller movie, given the ability that Miller has shown to create amazing stunts based primarily around practical effects, and Cruise's commitment to doing his own practical stunts in order to provide the most authentic experience possible. For me, it seems like a match made in heaven, one that I am wishing would happen. I was wondering if you agree."
I think that's a great idea. I had never thought about that before, but that matchup would be great. I mean, we know that Christopher McQuarrie is writing and directing the next Mission Impossible with Cruise, but imagine if he wasn't and George Miller was slotted in there. I think that's a fantastic pair. Schnepp?
I love it. I think what they should do is get like a window of like 3 weeks for Tom Cruise this coming summer, because George Miller is shooting that Mad Max sequel this coming summer. I remember we had like last week, he's saying he's not going to do it, and then like backpedaling because a woman misinterpreted what he said. I know they're building sets. What are they building them for? Like some ghost town ride in Australia? It's not going to be. They're making a sequel. They're keeping it hush hush. When they announce it, it's going to be Bonanza style. People are going to freak out. I think that's a perfect thing to get Cruise to be like a weird, creepy villain from Gasland or whatever. Throw him in there because he would kill it. I think it would be a great thing.
Literally, I would love to see Cruise in a movie with George Miller, especially in Mad Max. Like, because for me, I still think Collateral is like the best work he's ever done, and I was as a villain. Now, granted, it would be something very different in the Mad Max world, but the word that just comes to mind when you see that picture of the two of them, professional. I mean, they're both two of the most constant professionals out there. As the two of them working together would be great. I don't know if we'll ever see it happen, but I think it was a great suggestion.
Yeah, especially because we talk about actors that never phone it in. We talk about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is one of those guys
Definitely.
that he never, even if you don't love all his movies, he never says, okay, I'm just and we've seen some of the greats, phone it in sometimes.
Yeah.
He doesn't. With George Miller doing the stunts, he'd be like, no, let's do it again. Let's just do it.
And I love his reasoning for why. If you ever hear his reasoning on why he's always given 110%, he said because the fans are paying the money to see it, and and it's not just a guy who's a salesman. Of course, he's going to say that to the fans. Then you see him on that plane. He's doing it also because he's got that thing in him, that daredevil type. But he's also doing it because he wants the fans to believe it. He puts in like every single movie he's done, from the good to the bad, he is giving 110%, and I'd love to see him do it with George Miller.
Yeah, I saw him at the Produced By conference, and he spoke, and he was speaking there not as an actor, but as a producer, and how he's interested in all these things. And he talks about he wants to give the value to the fans. He says, if we put a dollar into it, I want to see the fans get $10 out of it. He's obsessed with it, and that's something I can respect.
Definitely.
All right, what's next?
Casey Crow writes, howdy y'all from Texas. My question is concerning James Cameron. He has made 2 of the highest grossing films of all time, but hasn't made a single film since Avatar in 2009. Can you help me understand what in the world he's been doing since then? How can the Avatar sequel not have been made yet?
He's just sitting on his ass, right, guys? Come on, he's just sitting on a pile of money,
That's it.
burning
Swimming
$100
in it.
bills.
Yeah.
Screw you, fans, burning $100 bills.
He's throwing hundreds at the paperboy.
Now, this is easy. He's working on the Avatar sequels. And not only is he working on them, he's writing them, too. You have to remember, like, some directors you'll see that churn out a lot of movies, they aren't writing the scripts themselves. Someone else is writing the scripts. They come in and direct it. But if you're writing it, it takes a longer time. That's why Tarantino, his movies don't come out every other year. It takes a little longer for him. But he's working on the sequels, and then also he's not sitting on his ass. If you read his biography, The Futurist by Rebecca Keegan, you'll see that he's like obsessed with his movies, and he has such a fascinating story of how he became a director. He was like a special effects artist and working at
Concord New Horizons,
and just all the things that he did to make it, and all the stuff that he continues to do. He's one of those guys, so he would never sit on his ass.
Well, go back in time to like 1998 and 1999 after Titanic. This was a question that where's he been? Where's he at? What's his Avatar thing coming out? Where's he been? He hasn't done anything. He's been because he was floating around in the ocean looking up the Titanic. He becomes obsessed with these things. It's also why you get the amount of detail and stuff he puts in. And everyone always says, both the last 2 movies he's done with Titanic and Avatar, they're like, everyone thought Titanic was going to be a bust.
Yeah.
Turns out to be the most profitable movie of all time before Avatar. Then Avatar, what the hell is this? Most profitable movie of all time. He's a magician. The guy is a magician, so he sits back and he's detailing. Now we know that we're going to get an Avatar sequel. 4 movies now? 4? Is it 3 or 4?
Well, 3 more, so
3
it's going to
more.
be 4 in total.
So 3 movies back to back to back. That's the answer to the question, is that he is writing 3 scripts, plotting 3 movies, and they're probably going to be about anywhere between 2.5 to 3 hours a piece. Right. So that's a lot of detail, and the guy is very detail oriented.
and they're designing them. So he's very much in charge of like designing the ecosystem of his entire world, the ecosystem of his entire world. Also, don't forget he did a bunch of documentary, kind of like going underwater. It's like all these. He's very obsessed with our the changing of our atmosphere, our planet, climate change. So he's fighting and doing a lot of things like that. That's what while he's not working on the Avatar scripts, he's also trying to like help raise awareness. So
Yeah, he's not one that will be just sitting around doing nothing.
No.
He's directing 2, 3, and 4.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think he would let anyone touch.
I don't think so either.
This is
You're
his
right.
personal
Yeah.
thing that he created. So
Yeah.
I don't think he would let anyone touch it. All right, now we're on to live Twitter questions. What do we've got first?
All right, 2 Urban Guys writes, listening live from London, love the show. Leto looks like he's going to smash it on Suicide Squad, but Because Heath Ledger's Joker is so loved. Is he fighting a losing battle because people will automatically say Ledger was better?
I don't think he's fighting a losing battle as long as his Joker is not the same as Heath Ledger's Joker. If he tries to do an imitation of Heath Ledger, which it doesn't look like from the trailer, then I think he's fine. People will always compare it to Heath Ledger's, but as long as it's different enough, just like Heath Ledger's Joker was much different than Jack Nicholson's from Batman, I think he can do it.
Yeah, everything I've seen so far of Jared Leto's Joker is fantastic. It's got a little of Cesar Romero. It's got a lot of the Dark Knight Rises, not Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's Dark Knight, that kind of psychotic, violent Joker. It's very far away from the Heath Ledger Joker, so I'm very happy about that. He's adding his own personal touch to it. He's a comic book fan. I think it's going to be a great Joker, so I'm looking forward to it.
Of course, it's going to get compared. I mean, just like Heath Ledger did for sure. It'll happen, then he'll make it his own. But I'll tell you what, and I'll already put the stamp on it. I think he has the best Joker laugh of all time.
It's creepy.
That laugh is the best.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's so good, and I think that we'll see a lot more of him. It's what he's going to do. So far, what I've seen in the brief stuff that we've seen of him so far is it looks like a mixture of a lot of Jokers from the past.
Yes.
I think that's a good choice. I think it's a choice. I'd like to see, it reminds me a little bit, he took a little bit of Nicholson there. He took a little bit of Ledger there. Oh, there's this little Cesar Romero there. That's great.
Yeah.
I want to see it all, and I think that's a smart move because there's been so many before you. Pay respect to it. And then let me see your take on it too. And that's the type of actor he is. So I think he'll be fine.
All right, what's next?
All right, Jonathan Peck asks, Star Wars Episode 8 is crashing on the same day as Spielberg's Ready Player One. Will Warner Brothers push back on Ready Player One?
I guess that answers that question. Yeah, I think so.
You think they'll move it?
They got to. I think they may move it up more.
Like Mission Impossible?
Something like that. You do not want to. It's too similar.
And Spielberg's part of the Star Wars family, even though he's never directed. He's part of the Star Wars family. I mean, he's the one that championed J.J. Abrams. Obviously, his relationship with Lucas. That will be. I think that Disney will talk to Spielberg about it, and they'll have a conversation. But
they'll move it up 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd see the earliest 2 weeks, if not a whole month early.
I say a whole month because Avatar, they're saying probably will be 2 weeks before Star Wars Episode 8, and then you want to get cushion from that as well.
Sure.
So maybe a month before.
And I'm sure Spielberg already got the phone call before they made the announcement. That Kathleen Kennedy probably called him and said, "Listen, Steven, here's," because they're like best friends.
Doesn't Spielberg get the phone call for everything though?
Probably, but those two are like frickin' frack. Kathleen Kennedy and Spielberg.
They'll be announcing that move like tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about it.
All right, what's next?
Isaiah asks, do you think celebrities boycotting the Oscars are justified in their actions?
I think it's up to them. I think it's a choice that they can make, and they can choose to or not to. I mean, I think Mark Ruffalo, is considering as well, along with Spike Lee and Jada Pinkett Smith. So,
and Will Smith now said it too as well.
Yeah, so I think it's up to the individual if they want to or not.
Yeah, I mean, the boycotting of the Oscars, it depends really. I mean, I definitely see all of their perspectives on it. I mean, but once again, you look at the Oscars, it's 93% white males over 60. So it's like, if you look at those percentages, you're gonna and you look at it like racially, then you're basically saying.
Do you mean the Academy?
That's what I'm saying. The Academy, the voters. Then you're saying all those voters are racist, which is kind of sucky to say that. And also, I find it a little weird when it's like somebody who's like their significant other is up for an award and they don't win. It feels a little sour grapes to me. It's like, look, it's like definitely the diversity is not there, and it wasn't there last year. But then the 2 years before, so a lot of different ethnic wins, cultural wins, different race wins. I mean, so you look at the last 2 years and you say, look, it's all whitewash. But then the previous 3 years, it wasn't at all. In fact, it was almost the opposite. So I don't know really how to feel about it. Like, I'm a white male, so I should shut up, I guess. I don't have an opinion. But I know it's weird. But I mean, like you said, it's everyone's individual opinion. And if they feel like there was a lot of choices that were made this year that were unfair, I felt there were a couple, but it's like, that's my feeling about it. I'm not even part of the Oscars, but I'm like, boy, it would have been great to see Beasts of No Nation up there because I thought that was an incredible film. Idris did an incredible job. There's a lot of different people that I think could have had a chance to be nominated but weren't. But I'm not going to boycott it. So
Again, if that's the choice that they want to make, I don't think necessarily a boycott is the answer, because like we were saying the other day, I think it's more about a problem in casting today. I think it's a problem about more opportunities. I don't necessarily think it's the Oscars' fault, the Academy's fault here. I don't think a boycott of that particular award ceremony is the answer. Personally, I think something like what you mentioned, Idris Elba, if you listen to his speech, what he made the other day about diversity and addressing the Oscars, it was more about the opportunities and giving more people of not just African American, but with Latinos, with the gay community, with all like everyone, and making it all about everyone, and having like his speech. If you have not read it, read Idris Elba's speech. The guy is an ambassador for humanity. He's so great. But when you just boycott, and I think that you're right, it rubbed me the wrong way when Jada Pinkett Smith did it. Not so much because Spike Lee never used the word boycott, and he said it himself. Jada Pinkett Smith seemed to me like, I wonder, and she might have, but I wonder if Will Smith did get nominated, and if she would have had a problem with a lot of other people not getting nominated.
Yeah, she has a dog in the fight, so it's a little different.
Right.
But you're talking about someone like Spike Lee or Mark Ruffalo.
But Spike Lee never used the word boycott.
What did he exactly do?
He was addressing more of and he even came out and said, I never used the word boycott. He was addressing and the problem that there certainly is one. There absolutely is a problem again, to where we used the example the other day is like, why couldn't have been let's say Nate Parker in one of these bigger movies? Is Nate Parker getting the same shot that a Mark Ruffalo is, or that a Matt Damon is? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it as much, because Nate Parker's a guy to me that should be a superstar. And you see him every once in a while. There are other, there are so many different, and it's not just African American. With there are more Latinos out there that should be getting more opportunities, and more in the gay community. There's so much more, but it's a matter of the casting process. That's what it is. It's the casting. Who's getting opportunities?
It's a bunch of different stuff. You have the casting opportunities, then you also have what we're talking about before is the voting board. I mean, if it's 93% white and the average age is 63 and it's male. I think it was like 67% male. Then you don't have diversity in the voting.
But let me ask you a question, because you're not a white male. If you were on the Academy Award voting, who would you have taken out that did not like? So if there's someone so if it's a Will Smith or if it's Idris Elba, would you have taken out anyone that got nominated? You might. I'm just curious. Is there anyone that you would have voted out?
I'm not sure. I mean, I had to think about that, but I definitely would have something like a Michael B. Jordan in consideration for Best Actor, and also
we don't know if he wasn't considered though.
And Jason Mitchell for Best Supporting.
But who are you taking out?
Well, I mean, I have to take a look at that
and
list.
And that's the most stacked one. You got Rylance,
I have to take
Stallone.
a look at that list.
You got Rylance. You got, Stallone. That was Bryan Cranston as Best Actor. But if you look at, I remember looking at that list. That is a stacked list. Yeah. Now, Michael B. Jordan, though, isn't supporting. He's Best Actor. Yeah. So who would you go in Best Actor? It's tough. That's what I mean, though, to where if there are more opportunities for minorities to do it, I don't know.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, for me personally, like something like I would put Creed in the Best Picture nomination versus something like Bridge of Spies.
I'm not going to disagree with you
there. So
right?
What I'm saying is that it doesn't necessarily mean that those movies would have got in there, but who knows?
Right.
I mean, you definitely have to have a diverse voting base. Of course, that's going to affect things.
Yeah.
It's not something where people are voting and going, haha, I don't want any diversity at all.
Right.
That's not, see, the thing about like kind of that type of stuff is it's never like a conscious decision, or most of the time it's not a conscious decision. It's something that people are like subconsciously like, they forget about certain things, know, and they're like, I don't remember that, or that's not in my wheelhouse.
I think that's my point, though, too, that I just want there to be more opportunities that where it's going to be impossible for them to go, I forgot about that, because there's so much more. There's so many more of these actors and actresses that have a shot. It just doesn't because it bothers me that you go, well, Will Smith, Idris Elba, you can maybe count 5 on your hand. That shouldn't be. It should be 10, it should be 20, 30. There should be so much more, and there's not. And that's not the Academy's fault.
No, it's not. It's indicative of our society's fault. So much deeper than just the filmmaking, film-going experience.
Natasha, you any thoughts on this?
I mean, the only thing that I would hate to see is kind of like a quota, like, all right,
I would never want to see that either.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the points that John made, I think our last mailbag that we did was, if you could switch out certain people based on their performances, would you? And I think he said no. And after seeing a few of the films and actors that have been nominated, I'd have to agree with him. The Jada Pinkett Smith speech kind of like resonated funny with me because I felt like because of her husband, like I didn't know if that was something that tipped her off. But I mean, I think if you're gonna boycott something, you know, it's something you're passionate about, like you should be able to do that, and you know, maybe that'll bring some change.
Well, along your lines, though, if you notice in television, there's much more diversity and opportunities for people, for women and people of color, because then you have more people nominated in the Emmys.
You also have a lot more opportunity in TV now with Netflix, Amazon, all the networks, all cable. There's so much. It's more of a broad place to go and because it's so hard to get independent films, man. Now, you know, I mean, it's like this, the independent films and the big budget films. They have like a list of actors. It's easier for people to get. There's more opportunities in television right now because there's so much more, and I think that's why so many actors and actresses are going. Like, look at the star power that's in TV now. Like some of the TV stars now are like were movie stars of the past, or even still. I mean, look at someone like Ben Mendelsohn who does both. There's more opportunity in TV, and then Ben Mendelsohn, obviously a white guy. But I'm just saying, you know, in regards to there's so many actors and actresses that have chances now there than they don't have in film.
Just playing devil's advocate. The Martian, right? You have Matt Damon. That's a big budget film, and it's being sold overseas. It's being sold globally, and that's why when you have like something like a film like that where it's like one central character and you have to get it across, you have to open it in all these different countries. And why do these countries all have these giant faces that float on the billboards and the posters? Because it's recognition and it's brand, and it's like that actor or actress can open a movie.
Yeah,
Not
for
here in
sure,
America.
sure. But nowadays, the movie star isn't as big as they used to be.
But they still open internationally, though.
Some of the big ones do. But like, okay,
Can you replace Denzel Washington and put him in The Martian, and would it have the same box office? Would he have even gotten nominated?
A younger Denzel Washington.
I'm just saying, maybe he would have gotten nominated more so than even a Matt Damon. If you play up, like, get the best actor that you can possibly get, regardless of their box office. You know?
Well, let me give you examples. Another Ridley Scott film. I mean, obviously Christian Bale is a big guy, and I love Joel Edgerton. He's not a huge name that's going to bring people in. And in Exodus, Gods Amongst Kings, or whatever the hell that title was.
That's a great point.
That movie bombed. Look at Peter Pan or whatever the hell that is. You had Rooney Mara taking the place of a Native American princess. Right. That movie bombed like crazy. So what is her? I mean, she's a talented actress, but what box office wise is she bringing?
No, that's my point. Those examples were dead on. That's my point. Is that especially those particular roles, those shouldn't have gone to white actors.
But that's once again financing. That has nothing to do with that's all about just being able to get the money to make the movie. It's like, well, you have this. Here's a short list of 5 people that you can pick from in order to get $100 million. You don't want these 5 people. Now your budget is $30 million.
You think Rooney Mara and Edgerton are getting that money for those?
In order for
examples?
them to get, that's all from a list. You can choose from this list. You have no choice. As a filmmaker, and you get that money, you have these different lists that you're getting. Right. So I'm just telling you, it's like you could fight for a list. Like you have people fighting for I want this actor, I want this actress. Then you're gonna suffer. They're gonna say, we'll take $20 million away from you. Now you still want them?
See, I get that list when it's Leonardo DiCaprio, and then it's like Michael B. Jordan.
That's the one I understand, Johnny Depp or Matt Damon.
If Michael B. Jordan and Leonardo DiCaprio, look, we're gonna be able to sell this movie more with Leo. But then it's like Joel Edgerton, or again, Nate Parker. Put Nate Parker in there. Give Nate Parker a shot. If his audition was better. Yeah. If his audition was better. But again, if Joel Edgerton, for some reason, that fit Ridley Scott's vision, and that was the case, it's a hard one to fight. It's a hard one to fight because I'm with you so much. Those and Bale also. Bale shouldn't have been in it.
Plus, it was a
but at least you could
say
sell me on okay, he's a box office draw or something like that.
Right.
You're not
it's Batman.
So, all right, let's do one more.
All right, lighten the mood a bit. Yeah. K Grabber writes, love watching the show live. How soon will the next Chipmunks movie be announced in December 2017?
Return of the shit rats.
Man, I was waiting for someone to ask that because man, I love the ones that I didn't see yet.
I was hoping to make more. I thought we were gonna end the episode on an upper. Now we're on a stockpile.
What was the guy's name?
I thought it was an upper.
What was the guy's name?
K Grabber.
K Grabber was like,
I got you, sucker.
You're like, all right.
Chipmunks for you. Suck it. Come on, we'll talk about the shit rats. Yeah. Episode 23. Yeah.
They made money.
It's the only person that saw Chipmunks
It's
4 or 5 or
horrible.
whatever.
Yeah,
It's
he had to
torture.
sit through it.
It's awful. My 4-year-old daughter was like, "Let's get the hell
What
out
was
of
it
here."
called? Road Shank? What was it even called?
Road Chip.
Road Chip.
Road Chip.
Right.
And I was
Road
calling
Murderers.
it. What was that? I was wait. The Road Chip. Yeah, because I was calling it Chipwrecked, and I guess that was the second one. I don't know what it's called, but it's horrible. It's
That's the second or third one.
who gives a shit? It's horrible. It doesn't
Stop
matter.
now.
Get it out of there.
They're probably waiting for Star Wars. They're like, oh,
Of course.
let's
Oh.
release
They
it.
moved
right
the
now.
dates.
Yeah.
It's supposed
We
to
got
come
it
out
after
the
Star
date.
Wars
Yeah.
moved. They moved it
They were
to
just
December.
follow Star Wars like Chipmunk.
Jason Lee, what is Jason Lee doing? Kevin Smith, please save Jason Lee. Please.
Can you
Save
smell
him.
what the chipmunk
Hey,
is shitting?
they're making
You know?
Mallrats too. So
Yeah,
just-
save
there you go.
Jason Lee. Like, can we start a campaign? Save Jason Lee.
Hashtag.
He's going to be in Mallrats.
Okay, fine. We'll get him in Mallrats 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get him out of the shit rats.
Yeah. Chipmunks forever.
Oh, the worst.
All right, guys. That's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us. I want to thank the people joining us at the table. Schnepp, where can people find you?
You can find me hanging out with chipmunks on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Schnepp. And you can find my film, The Death of Superman Lives, No Chipmunks Involved, at TDOSLWH. Goodbye, chipmunks.
Christian.
That's commitment. That's all I got for you. Find me hunting shit rats at Kristian Harloff on both Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you watch Jedi Council going down today. Hashtag Collider Jedi Council. We'll talk about the Star Wars moving date, Darth Vader rumors for Rogue One. Lots of stuff going down. Make sure you check it out.
No chipmunks are in it, right?
Yeah.
I will eat those things.
And Natasha, where can people find
You
you?
guys have me crying over here. You guys can find me on Instagram at Natasha A. Martinez and on Twitter at NatashaLexis_.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Collider videos. Also visit amctheaters.com for all your showtimes and ticket information. Also, usually I say I'll see you next week, but actually today's Thursday, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.
If you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.